Hey there. I wanted to share my experience of being on Effexor or Venlafaxine, as it's also called. I didn't find many reviews about this on YouTube, and I thought I would try to give a comprehensive review of Effexor. I've been on Effexor for 3 months, and now I'm weaning off, and I'm going to explain why. So I had a couple of psychological issues and I didn't know where to go. So I first got in touch with my primary care physician and he suggested, I guess, the usual thing that's done, which is lifestyle changes and dietary changes and bibliotherapy. He diagnosed me with generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. And lifestyle changes and dietary changes weren't really necessary for me because I already exercise a lot and I eat healthy. And the bibliotherapy, which was learning about cognitive behavior therapy, helped me a little bit, but it wasn't enough. I could use the tools that I learned in cognitive behavior therapy to manage the anxiety a little bit, but it wasn't enough. So we talked about seeing a psychotherapist and also medication. And just as a personal choice, I decided to try to get on medication first. So I was put on Zoloft or Sertraline, as it's also called. Zoloft is an SSRI, so it touches the serotonin in your brain. And as you would expect, I had plenty of side effects getting on Zoloft, but fairly quickly it started to work. Which, I mean, I'm not entirely sure it started to work. It could also been that was having a strong placebo effect because I was finally having my psychological issues taken care of. So maybe both the placebo and both the Zoloft started working. Getting on Zoloft was pretty hard. I was really spaced out and very nauseous, and my appetite disappeared completely in the first week to the point that I would just forget to eat. But the Zoloft controlled my anxiety and my depression pretty well. I started feeling very balanced. However, I was experiencing sexual dysfunction problems, which is very common for men and less common for women, but I didn't want to live with those problems for about 2 years of treatment. So the doctor and I decided to go to Effexor, which is an SNRI, which means it also touches the norepinephrine in your brain. I was just starting to feel okay on Zoloft, and then we switched to Effexor, and everything started all over again. I was nauseous, spaced out, and didn't have an appetite whatsoever. That went away after a few weeks. And as we went to higher doses to get me to a therapeutic dose, I found that I was getting extremely agitated, nervous, jittery, got nervous twitches like twitching eyes and trembling hands to the point that I couldn't type on my phone. And I got something that I call the needles, which is when my skin started to feel like there was needles pushing from inside against me, and it was so agitating that I would walk around all day with balled fists and have sore arms at the end of the day. That went away after a little bit. After I reached 150 milligrams a week or so, maybe that went away. However, something that never went away, which is also an extremely common side effect of Effexor, is super vivid dreams. It makes your sleep, if you sleep at all, not restful. It's like you're awake, basically. I would remember everything of these dreams, and sometimes I couldn't tell dream and real life apart. one time I woke up believing that I had dyed my hair black and I was eating my cereal, assuming my hair was black, and then I looked into the mirror and it was still brown. So that's something you have to consider when you get an Effexor. Most likely you're going to get very vivid dreams. When they're good, they're fun, but when they're bad, they're really not fun. It's too real. I also started a few weeks into 150 milligram. I started to get night sweats to the point I would wake up at like 2 a.m. and have to change my PJs and would be just dripping sweat, feeling cold and shivering. So, also, the Effexor treated my anxiety very, very well. I started to forget what anxiety feels like. That I have to say that's probably the best thing that happened to me on Effexor. However, it did not touch the depression at all for me. My suicidal ideation was not handled at all, and I wasn't willing to stay with all these side effects while also still being depressed as hell. I would go to my doctor, and we are deciding to wean off Effexor now. Weaning off, I'm having withdrawal, which is quite strong with Effexor. I'm starting to feel spaced out again, and the needles are coming back. But I will be seen by a psychiatrist soon, who will give a consultation for my primary care doctor. And I also will take a genetic test to find out which SSRIs I metabolized best, and then we hopefully can make a better decision for my medication. If you're getting on an antidepressant that's an SSRI or SNRI, be aware that this is a little bit of a roll of the dice. Your doctor can only make a decision based on research and his experience or her experience, but you're still an individual and it might not work for you. So if you're having problems and side effects that you cannot deal with, you should talk to your doctor and make sure you switch medications or you find a different way of treatment. So I guess this is my Effexor review. And if you have any questions, make sure to comment.